It is, as you know, party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show here in the mothership, which is Studio 22, being driven by the man himself, the puppet master, Mark Tate. Mark, let me tell you something, buddy. We're going to go to a hockey game soon. I saw you guys, and I saw a little cameo of Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians over there. You guys were partying with our buddy Metro Hernandez.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm going to take you guys to the hockey game. We're going to go. We're going to celebrate. It's going to be a celebration of a successful year of the Chad Prather Show, the moving to the new studio, all kinds of things. So let's look at the dates. We're going to go see a Stars game.
Sounds like a plan.
I could care less about hockey. Mm-hmm. I could care. And you guys are big hockey fans.
Yeah, it's funny because I was never into hockey.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Dallas, I had a couple friends that were into it, and I started going to games, and now I love it.
Yeah, I thought about getting us a suite or something. I was like, let's get down there where we might get hit by the puck.
There you go. You have to live dangerously at a hockey game.
So I took Metro and Bougie Sean. We were in Nashville and we went to a Predators game, right? And I had never. It's been years since I've been to a hockey game, so I thought, well, I'll treat these guys to good seats. And in my world, going to baseball games, I'm thinking when you sit down close to the action, close to the field, that's a good seat. It's not necessarily a good thing in hockey. So we were literally sitting on the glass, but not just the glass. We were sitting behind the Nashville Predators. Like if the glass hadn't been there, I could have just reached out and grabbed Suppan by the back of the head, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't see but half of the ice from that. You could smell the players right there. So I thought I was doing a good thing, and I wasn't doing a good thing. But I've learned. So we're going to get good seats. We're going to go, and we're going to have a good time. I might even let you buy me a beer. Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians. Do you know what's coming? Do you know what's coming, Candice? You have worked so hard on these 3 episodes.
The Jeffrey Epstein series.
Jeffrey Epstein series.
Coming up.
You just think that you know the truth about Jeffrey Epstein. And I know there's a lot of folks out there who say it doesn't matter. If the guy's dead, he's dead. He got what he deserved, whatever. No. There's a lot of reasons why this story cannot die. It can't go away. Hot News Natalie's sitting over there at Party Foul's Pub, who, by the way, gave Jeffrey Epstein a massage in Florida.
Is that wrong?
Well, it wasn't in your world because you needed the money, redneck.
Girl gotta eat.
And also, Party Foul Steve.
I'm here. She gave me a massage earlier, too.
one of those Thai massages where she walked on your head.
Not going to talk about it.
I wish somebody would walk on your head. That's funny. Scotty's sitting over there in hanging out at the Party Foul Pub. You're like, I want you to read his shirt. Now it says Machine Gun Preacher for President. And that is significant because we got a very special guest today that I can't wait. You know who he is. And got an incredible claim to fame on numerous levels. We're going to get into that. But hang on, I want to sell something here because we can't have a podcast unless we talk about our sponsors. So in case you weren't paying attention, the holidays, they're creeping up, and I'm going to share with you one of the coolest gifts that I discovered called iTarget Pro. It's the first dry-firing training system to combine smartphone technology with the industry's best laser bullet. That's right, I said laser bullet. So use your smartphone. They've got a proprietary app that tracks a laser bullet that fits in the gun of your choice, and it's going to detect exactly where your shots are landing. iTarget Pro is completely safe, comes with your caliber-specific laser build and target system. And right now you get 10% off plus free shipping with the offer code CHAD. So you can train risk-free for 30 days. I'm telling you, you'll return it if you're not completely satisfied. But before you do, go to the range and see how much better it's made you. It's going to make a difference because dry-fire training is going to develop muscle memory. It's going to help you with target reaction speed, sight alignment, trigger function, and more. You're going to get to know your gun better is what you're going to do. Plus, you're going to save a lot of money on ammo. So go to itargetpro.com. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. Use offer code CHAD. And speaking of a guy that's pulled a lot of triggers, I'm sitting here with the machine gun preacher himself, Sam Childers. You are one unique cat.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. I love that you say thank you to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to be unique, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get into this story. If you've ever seen the movie Machine Gun Preacher starring Gerard Butler, Gerard, of course, played Sam Childers in the movie. Angels of East Africa is the organization. And when we referred to Scotty's shirt over there, Machine Gun Preacher for President, After 2024, when President Trump moves out of the White House, you might be moving in.
I'm hoping. I'm not going to run till after he's done with his next term.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping he's going to be in there again.
That's
we'll
awesome.
See what happens.
He's going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
I read this thing, where this says that a poll that says that 70% of Americans said that Trump was wrong in his conversation with Szalinski in the Ukraine. And I said, well, if you think he's wrong, then of course that's an impeachable offense, which is what the left wants you to think. Then why don't you just wait till November of 2020 if you're so confident that the guy is wrong?
Right. Instead of spending our taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the millions of dollars that's being spent on this whole ordeal, and it's going to fall through.
Yeah.
But see, it's not costing the people nothing. It's costing us, taxpayers.
It's a sham.
Yeah, even though I've been avoiding paying tax for 20 years, but no, I
like
haven't.
your style. I think I owe the IRS about $5,800 still from last year, so I'm sure I'll get a letter in the mail. Sam Childers, listen, I want you to tell your story. I want you to start from the beginning. I want you to go back. It just, the words that your dad spoke to you shaped your life in a big way, led you down an interesting path, and that path got really squirmy.
He always said to me ever since I was a young boy, and I hope I'm saying the right words, watch out for girls like that over there. No, he didn't say that. No, my dad always.
You could have caught that reaction from
one
Natalie.
massage, and then all of a sudden I'm labeled.
Right. No, but my dad would always say to me, boy, someone's going to kill you one of these days. And I heard that from the time I was a little kid all the way up until a week before he died, But he was my hero in my life, my dad was. And he taught all of us boys, there was 3 of us, never to walk away from someone in need. If there was a bully in our school, my dad said we're to bully the bully. Mm-hmm. And he was just an upright person that always believed if you see somebody getting picked on or being treated wrong, stand up for that person. Yeah.
And you took another route for a while. As a young boy, as a teenager, you kind of went into self-destruct mode, but you didn't think it was that.
I tell you what, I started using drugs at 11 years old. And I didn't realize how bad I was until at 15 years old. I woke up one morning, and I could see myself putting a needle in my arm. Mm-hmm. And then I went from that to I started selling drugs. I was probably the biggest drug dealer in Grand Rapids, Minnesota at one time. And then by the time I was 19, 20 years old, I'm selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of drugs.
Wow.
And then I started running drugs from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Chicago to Orlando. And then it all changed one night. I got in a really bad bar fight in Florida and almost got killed. And in that bar fight, there was people laying on the floor and blood was everywhere. People were shot, stabbed. I almost got killed. And I said that night, if I make it to that door, I'm done living this life. I didn't say I'm going to give my life to God. I didn't say nothing like that. I said if I make it to that door, I'm done living this life. I made it to the door. I went home that night. I told my wife, she was a stripper at the time. I told her, I said, we're moving. And we moved 1,000 miles away. And I started living a different life. Yeah.
How did that translate into reality for you? What changed?
Everything in my life, and I knew the only way I was going to change, I had to walk away from everyone. Yeah. I rode with a club since I was 15 years old. So I left the club not for a few years or a few months. I left the club for years. Now I ride again with a club now. Mm-hmm. But I left that life. I walked away from all my friends, everyone that I knew, not 5 years, 10 years. People actually thought I got killed. Yeah, people actually thought I got killed.
You're like Snake Plissken. I always heard you were dead.
Yeah, well, I heard that all the time, yeah. But anyways, I started going to church, I started going to church, and it just changed my life. I found that I had a purpose. I found that I had a purpose. I didn't like what God had planned for me. I didn't like it.
Yeah, people rarely do.
I was a businessman. I was a businessman at a time. I had every reason not to go to Africa, but God had a plan for me in Africa. I had a construction business. I owned 17 houses and 8 stores when I got a calling to go to Africa. I was in my 30s, and all of a sudden, I said to myself, well, I'll go on a 5-week mission trip thinking that I'm going to get God off my back.
Yeah.
And I went over there, and I got in the middle of a civil war, and I come across a small kid that stepped on a landmine. And I stood over that body, and I said, God, I'll do whatever it takes to help these people.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what I was saying, but I walked away from my family, construction business, money, everything. I mean, I had it all. I had everything. I had every man toy there was, you know. I had camper trailers, fishing boats. I had it all, you know. I walked away from it all. I started saving children. But the big story is now I'm still there.
Yeah.
2 decades later, I'm still there. 57 years old, still strap on a gun and still go in and end up rescuing kids.
And that's the thing. And I encourage people to read the book first.
Yeah.
Read the book. And we always encourage that. Read the book, because the book is going to be so much more accurately portrayed than say, the movie is. And the movie is eye-opening. I subscribed to Angels of East Africa. I get your newsletter when you choose to send it out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Every
because
quarter we do it.
Yeah, you're
well, it costs so much money.
I know.
And guys like you haven't been sending in them big checks lately.
I know.
So, you
I know.
we're kind of tight, you know.
And that's the thing. You guys, because what people don't understand, you guys are trafficking in big projects, and big projects require big funding.
Right.
And I mean, these are not small projects you are doing, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to unpack a little bit some of the things, what you said, because those are some pretty big brushstrokes and some pretty big things. You know, you, in essence, for a lack of better terms, people say you found God. God found you, put his hand on you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And said, hey, look, I got something for your life that you really don't like, you really don't want, but I got it for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a heart in you to go do this thing. You take off to Africa, and all of a sudden, boom, you're revolutionized. But you don't just go in there as some peaceful missionary.
Right.
Because you couldn't.
No.
You do that, and you're dead 10 times over, if not more, at this stage in the game, because you walked into a war zone.
Yeah, I never dreamed how bad it was till I got there. And see, at the time, South Sudan wasn't even a government at the time. South Sudan was just, everybody was rebels. They were good rebels and bad rebels, you know. And I didn't want to choose a side. I didn't want to choose anybody's side. I was there because of the children, you know. And then all of a sudden I find out that the guy that was killing the children and ended up kidnapping the children, was Joseph Kony. And he was the leader of the Lord Resistant Army. This guy was probably, at one time, the UN said he was the worst terrorist in the world because he never had an agenda. All he wanted to do was kill people. And he would take elderly, and he'd cut noses, ears, and I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed on here. But he would cut the breast off of young women, you know. He didn't want to kill certain people. He wanted to lame them. So when they went to town, people would see the scars and know that it was Joseph Kony that did it, you know. So I just knew I had to do something, you know. So what kind of exposed me was Dateline NBC came in to do a story on Joseph Kony, and I ended up doing, like security work for him. And then they're in there, and they said, wait a minute, are you this guy everyone's saying machine gun preacher? And I said, yeah, you know, back in them days, I didn't want no one to hear about me, you know.
Sure.
So all of a sudden they said, well, do you mind if we do a little story on you? So they done 30 minutes on Joseph Kony, and then they done a 30-minute story on the preacher that was hunting him down. I thought I was going to get like 5 minutes, you know. And it literally turned my life upside down. People wanted to do a book. They wanted to do movies, documentaries, you know.
And the interesting thing to me about Joseph Kony is beyond the savagery, because you're dealing with an animal here.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier in the offices. a lot of people haven't even heard that name in a little while, because he was big time news.
Yep.
After 9/11, they made the Lord's Resistance Army. They designated them as a terrorist group, and then all of a sudden they backed off,
Right.
and said, "Well, he's not a threat anymore," but he is a threat.
He's still killing people in the Congo next to South Sudan. He's still kidnapping children. I believe if there's one child getting killed or kidnapped, it's too many.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hunt him down.
Yeah.
He still has, I think there's $6 million on his head. I'd like for someone to send me after him, you know.
All you need to do is bring $500,000
Yep, I'll
to
go
make
get
this
his
thing
head.
happen.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about you is you don't even have to hunt him.
No, I'll just find me a nice lawn chair under a big shade tree, and he'll come.
He'll come for you.
He'll come to have a chat.
I love this. This is good stuff, Natalie. This is my kind of mission work here. Right? This is my kind of stuff. It comes with the
Hunting
justice,
for Jesus.
the vengeance of the Lord.
Yeah. Hunting for Jesus.
I mean, it really, and I say that tongue in cheek, but I honestly mean it. I mean, people in America don't understand the way the rest of the world
Absolutely.
is.
Well, James chapter 4, verse 17 says, if you know you should do something and not do it, then you have sinned.
That's sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you went in there, and I don't want people in the midst of this the justice. I don't want people to miss the compassion.
Yeah,
because you're standing over the body of a child who stepped on a landmine, and you can tell that story of kids that have been recruited into these armies, kids that have been murdered, kids that have been stolen, villages that have been, as we say, raped and pillaged and murdered. And these things. You've seen it over and over and over again.
Yeah, children nailed to trees. I mean, there's so much going on up here. I mean, if people could see everything that I see up here, I believe that everyone would do the exact same thing that I've done in the past. You have a lot of people, they say, well, how can a man of God pick up a gun and save these children? How could a man of God not do it?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like the story, of like the Good Samaritan. They walked over, seen the person laying there beaten, and then they walked away. The first two people were who? Temple assistants. Mm-hmm. But then there was just one ordinary Good Samaritan. Yeah. You know, I'm that Pennsylvania hillbilly that walked over and seen something and knew I had to do something, you know. But I never dreamed it was going to turn out like this, you know. I never dreamed for 1 second that it would ever get as big as it got.
Yeah,
you know?
and it has gotten big. and again, we're going to talk about that. I love to remind people that they forget that Jesus walked into a temple, saw injustice, and took some ropes and started beating the hell out of people. Yeah. Driving them out and turning over their stuff.
But really, he just didn't walk in and do it. It was premeditated.
Right.
Because for days before, he wove his whip, knowing exactly what he was going to do with it. Yeah. He was going to tear some people up, you know.
Yeah, hang on a second. I gotta weave a whip right here. We're going to get into this thing. This is awesome right here. So you'll appreciate this. This is perfect for you. TAC Pack. You've heard me talk about TAC Pack. Premier monthly subscription box for military, tactical, and Second Amendment enthusiasts. Just $49.95 a month. They're going to ship you at least $100 worth of gear. You're going to get AR-15 parts, EDC tools, knives, cleaning kits, and a mix of other tactical gear and apparel direct to you. You don't want to miss out on this. Listen, let me tell you something. You, for a limited time, for a limited period of time, with Christmas coming up and all that kind of stuff, December's package is coming up. You're going to get a blade from CRKT. You're going to get gear from Sons of Liberty Gunworks, Hexmag, and more. That thing's going to have at least $270 worth of gear in it. It's the ultimate gift for the tactical and survival-minded enthusiast in your life. And if that person is you, then guess what? You're allowed to treat yourself. So go to tacpack.com. When you use the promo code CHAD at checkout, they're going to ship you a free mystery bag of tactical goodies shipped out from around the same time as your TAC Pack for the upcoming month. And if you're upset you missed November, guess what? Send them an email, info@tacpack.com after you sign up and see if they got any left. I bet they might have some laying around. So if you're into tactical gear from the best companies for half the price, TAC Pack is for you. Go to tacpack.com. Remember, use offer code CHAD. All right. So You're in the you head over there. You see what you see, and you're like, I can't let this go. I've got to see it. First of all, just on common ground question, how hard is it to get your hands on a machine gun when you go over to the Sudan?
It's pretty easy for me to get my hands on a gun anywhere if I need one.
But the first time you go over there, what triggers in your mind that says, I'm going to have to engage?
What ended up happening is I heard about a village that was raided.
Yeah.
And I told some soldiers, I said, listen, I want to go see this. I've always been that kind of guy. I got to see it, So when we were going into the village, and keep in mind, there was no government back then. Okay, everybody was rebels. South Sudan was not recognized as a government.
Yeah.
So I just told them, I said, man, I need a gun, So they just gave me a gun,
Beautiful.
And
and I should say, probably getting your hands on the gun is easy enough. It's getting the ammunition.
Now, like a lot of people that watch the movie, they don't realize I own and operate an armed security company. That's what I do for a living in East Africa. So I've had an armed security company for 13, 14 years now.
Yeah. These children that you have rescued, and let's talk about that. You told me a story earlier about the gentleman who basically was making a proposition about prostitution.
Well, that's in my book. That's in the second book I wrote. It's called Living on the Edge. And I watched how I wrote it. But anyways, there was a guy on the Congo border that was selling little girls, and he asked me if I wanted any, and I said, "What?" I said, "You know who you're talking to?" So anyways, it's something how God works. There's always an angel in the night, And they found that guy in the hallway. Somebody split his head open with a bamboo stick.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing how that happens.
Yeah, it was just amazing. God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. And you're when you say children, you're not talking about 18, 19-year-olds. You're talking 7 and 8-year-olds.
Yeah, they were probably the girls on the bench. The oldest may have been 10 or 11.
Wow.
And for the Christian person out there that might hear this and think, well, whoever did that is awful. Whoever wouldn't stop that and walked away, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes on Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I got a lot of things that I got to answer for.
Sure.
The only thing that you got going good for you on Judgment Day is if you're behind me, you got a long time to think about what you're going to say, because I'm going to have the man tied up for a while. But
that'll be one of those days. It's party time, Mom. That'll be one of these days where I step up after Sam Childers and go, God, I didn't do near that shit.
But there's one thing that he won't say to me. Why did you walk away?
Right. Well, when you hear Jesus say, if someone leads one of these little ones astray, it's better that a millstone be hung around their neck and tossed into the bottom of the sea. That's in essence walking away from that. And also, James also says true religion is to take care of widows and orphans.
Absolutely.
And that's what you've done. You've taken care of in essence, to modernize that, it's the people who are indefensible, the people who can't take care of themselves, and you've done that. And I applaud you for that.
Everybody says, well, Jesus said turn the cheek. Well, he also told his disciples that he said, I'm sending you out to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Don't take an extra pair of shoes. Don't take a money bag. I just want you to go.
Yeah.
But after he was crucified and God rose him from the dead, he told his disciples again, I'm sending you out, preach the gospel. He said, if you don't have an extra pair of shoes, you don't have a money bag, get one. And he said, if you don't have a sword, sell your coat and buy one.
Buy one.
What was the sword for? The sword was equal to probably like an AK-47 is nowadays,
Yeah.
And I believe that he was saying there is going to come a time that you're going to have to protect your family.
Yeah.
And he made it clear in Matthew who his family was when they said, Lord, your mother and your brothers are outside. And he said, who is my mother and who is my brothers? Anyone that believes in me.
Yeah.
But even if you're not a believer, how can you stand back and watch innocent children get hurt?
Yeah. And I know there are people who watch or listen to this show and they want to object, and of course you've gotten it. You've heard it over the years.
I get hacked on all the
yeah,
time.
of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
And we will.
That's why me and Trump's buddies.
Exactly. I mean, it's what it is.
Right.
But I'm of the ilk. I'm tired of, and I'll just pick on the American church because I'm an American and I understand the American church and the commercialization that it is, where the only thing they're saving there is saints and seats.
Yeah.
And they're not. And so you want to sit there and cast a judging eye of some guy who's going to go out, risk his life to pull orphans that are literally being maimed. You know, you go to Rwanda where genocidally they're not only killing people, they're torturing them by cutting off, breaking Coke bottles and taking a stick and shoving it up their rectum and that kind of stuff. This is bad stuff with people who are animals at best.
I think the American church needs to start examining what they're doing and what God has sent us out to do. You know, most people don't realize if you're in an orphanage in a third world country, you have to leave at 15 years old. Now, not our orphanages. I have 5 orphanages. We're not like that. But at 15 years old, you have to leave the orphanage. More than 70% of those kids end up in prostitution. Now, a lot of churches don't like me because I put the blame on the church.
Yeah.
And I have churches saying, how can you put the blame on us? Because 98% of those orphanages are built by the church. The problem is we're so eager to put money out there to save little children, but then we don't think anything about them once they become a young adult, 15, 16 years old. So our ministry has really shifted the last decade on teaching skills and trades to young people.
Right. And you're backing that up because not only you engage in saving them, but you're rebuilding these communities, or not even rebuilding. You're building them for the first time in a lot of places.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you have a lot of people, especially, and there again, I'm not here to knock on Christians. I am a preacher. But you have a lot of churches, they want to stand up and say, we're changing nations. But I challenge them. Are we really changing a nation? You know, because to change a nation, it takes more than hardworking people. I'm very big into teaching people how to work hard, but it takes professional people. It takes teachers. It takes nurses and doctors. How do you get those people? You got to send young people to university. How many churches got plans to send young people from Africa to university? Yeah. Our organization, we have about 30 people in university now. Why? Because we want to change nations. Yeah.
And you're doing a lot of building. A lot of construction.
Yeah.
First of all, you've got how many kids?
I have about 380 kids in my care 24/7, and I have about 30 young people inside of college, inside of there in Africa. And then I work over 500 people a day. I don't even know all the people that I work. Now, those people are working in restaurants that we have. We have 3 restaurants. We have 2 B&Bs. We have 2 hotels. We have a movie company in Africa. We have a commercial farm teaching farming, ranching, irrigation. We have a supermarket, welding shop, auto mechanic shop. The big thing that we're doing, we're not only teaching a skill and a trade, we're making money. From our harvest in January, we sold thousands of dollars worth of vegetables off of our farm and rice. But then we turned around and we gave 8 truckloads to the refugee camps from 12-ton to 14-ton every truck.
Wow.
You know, so the organization is not just doing well selling stuff and bringing money in. We're giving away an unbelievable amount of food. This past Christmas, we fed on Christmas Day 45,000 plus people in a refugee camp. This year, our goal is to feed 60,000 plus people in a refugee camp on Christmas Day.
Listen, if that resonates with you, you can get in touch with this organization, and I encourage you to subscribe to the newsletter, Angels of East Africa. It is fun stuff. And I say fun because it's exciting, fun stuff. To watch the work, to see what's going on. You're doing the work. Questions from the pub, Natalie.
I just wanted to ask how often the AK-47 has had to come into play.
I don't, you
an
know,
encouragement?
not very often, because I don't even know how I got the name, because I carry a shotgun most of the time. Seriously, I do. I carry a little short riot pump shotgun with double-aught buck. Now that thing is used quite often, but the AK, yeah, you know.
In what way?
Bird hunting.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, that's
No,
that double-out pump.
right.
Great for dove.
I've always said I carry a firearm most of the time. When I come to the studio today, I seen you had a nice sign on the door, so I had to leave mine in the car. But I carry one everywhere that I go. But I would rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah, they've never checked my tactical fanny pack of death. I think I come in here so often. I think they just assume that I'm just carrying Kleenex and Q-tips and
Right.
Condoms.
For that massage.
Coming for you, Beck.
Stay horned. Stay horned.
Stay horned. That's and a lot of the people that you are working are people that were kids in your orphanage.
Absolutely. Now, I don't work any of them inside of like the security company, but I have kids, young girls, young boys working in the restaurants. The first restaurant I opened up was 13 years ago. And that one restaurant has had over 200 young people come through it that learn how to be waitresses, waiters, chefs, prep cooks, you know. It's just amazing what one business did over the years, you know. And now, okay, we got a commercial farm that works well over 80 people a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something I found out about Africa, and now I am, okay, like a missionary, but most missionaries go to Africa to just teach people how to pray. They already know how to pray.
Yeah.
What Africa needs, they have everything they need to function on its own. All they need is people to come in and create structure. And everything else is there, you know.
And we're going to show you at the end of this episode, we're going to show you, so if you're listening by audio, go over to YouTube and watch it. We're going to show you a video that's a couple of months old, so a lot of the projects that are in there are now completed, and you're going to see that. But, I mean, you've built shopping center. I mean,
Not a shopping center. That's probably coming up next. But we have in Ethiopia a 6-story building. That was the largest project that God ever put on me. And he gave me a vision on this 6-story building. I had no money. I had no land. So I went to the board of directors thinking they're going to tell me, Sam, you're in too much. But all they said was, we got your back. And, I mean, I cried. I didn't want to build a 6-story building and have that worry on me. But it started out as a vision, but it's reality now. The building is built from the footer to the roof. It's a bakery, restaurant, hair salon, hotel rooms, conference rooms. But the big thing about the building, it will house 50 to 60 young people that are orphan teenagers from 16 all the way up to 26 years old. They'll learn a skill and a trade. The ones that are qualified to go to school, the money that the project makes is going to help to send them to university.
That's awesome. If I sent Party Foul Steve with you over to East Africa, do you think you could get him rehabilitated? I mean, look at this guy. Is it too late?
I think I don't know if I can do much with him, but the girl I can make some money with. I can do pretty well with her, I think, you know.
Okay, but at least give me a shotgun.
I think she's worth about 50 cows. Maybe I might be able to get 75 cows out of her.
See, Candice,
Nice.
I always say you're an 8-cow woman, and
No.
you always say that's an insult. I'm telling you, it means something in places in this
Yeah,
world.
I'm telling you, 50 cows is pretty good.
Yeah.
Now that other one over there, what's her name?
Candace,
I could get some cows off her.
I'm telling you, that's what
Yeah.
that's what we call her from Acts chapter 8.
You know what we got to do? We got to see if they can carry a 5-gallon bucket of water on their head.
Yeah,
If they can, then they're really valuable.
I
Okay.
may be holding my weight in this then.
Candace could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, then
She's-
very
she's got-
valuable.
She's,
Yeah, very
she's
valuable.
short necked. We call her Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians, after Philip's encounter with her in
Is she-
Acts chapter 8. So that's always
You're
been her
not
name.
Ethiopian, are you?
No, we don't know what she is.
Yeah. Well,
have-
Ethiopian are some of the most beautiful women in the world. You
Yeah.
know, they have won so many different Miss America, or not Miss America.
Yeah.
What is it, Miss
Miss
World or
World,
whatever?
yeah. Miss
Universe.
Miss
It's
Universe,
amazing.
they're gorgeous. They know how to. They can run races too.
Yeah.
They well, that's more Kenyans, but yeah.
Yeah, Kenya. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's I from day one I've called her Candice, the Queen of the Ethiopians. We don't know what she is.
You
We
got
know she's
some-
not Ethiopian.
What I did notice, though, and I'm saying
Yeah.
this as a preacher,
Sure.
you got some beautiful ladies working around.
Trust
here.
me, Sam.
You're
I know what I'm
probably in
doing
trouble
around here
all the time.
Trust me,
you know.
brother. No. I got. I told my wife when we started this, and I said we always did the podcast that was audio only, and I said it's going to be a subtle little thing. I'm just gonna bring beautiful girls in, and people are going to know this show because they're going to be like, you know what, they got some pretty
And
good-looking, smart girls in here.
I bet you got Bill Clinton's quote. I did not have sex with that young
It
girl.
depends on what is. It all
What
depends
it
on
is.
what is. But no, we've got some phenomenally intelligent girls that hang around here. They're intelligent and very smart looking. So we like
Okay,
that.
we better change the subject.
No, not yet. Not yet. I got Mark Tate over here. Let me tell you how diverse I am. I have Candace, which is a nationality to be named later.
Okay.
But her last name is Ortiz, so we know she comes from somewhere down there. I've got a soulless ginger over here, even though he's not redheaded.
Where's he from?
He's from
I heard
here.
him talking hockey. Where's he?
He's from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a.
Thought he might have been Minnesota.
He went to
or-
Liberty University, and so he's a flame,
Okay.
flamer.
That's right.
And then I've got a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, and I've got a hippie named Steve that gets me all over the country, and then I have got a gay Cubano agent in L.A. I've got a Jewish manager in L.A. I have got Bougie Sean, who's the only black guy you'll ever meet with white privilege, and I've got Metro Jason Hernandez. I'm the most diverse redneck you've
Wow,
ever seen
I'm
in your
telling
life.
you,
I'm
man.
telling you. But we just have a bevy of talented, beautiful people around. It's unreal. Make you want to stay around.
I'm still wanting to hear about them bottles of scotch sitting behind them.
If you read the back, those Eden and Oak and Eden, I'm sorry, they named that after the Garden of Eden, and so if you read the back of it, they're making spirits by the Spirit. That's
awesome.
a Christian whiskey maker.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't believe there's anything
Jesus
wrong with
was
that.
the one that started all of that when he turned the water to
First
wine.
miracle. First miracle.
First miracle.
I love how people say, well, that wasn't real wine. And I'm
Right.
like, well, then why did they call him a wine bibber and a drunk?
And why did they say, well, he saved the best for last?
The best one. Normally when the guests are well drunk,
Yeah.
that's when you bring out the cheap wine, but you save the best for last. Let me tell you something. Not only was it a miraculous thing when he turned the water to wine, I mean, you're talking bathtub barrels full. And so it's a lot of wine. And the beauty of it is it was so practical because when people are at a party and they're half drunk and they need to get whole drunk, and let me tell you, he was a problem solver.
Right.
But when you say, oh, no, he's a drunkard, well, what in the world? Why in the world? And on Pentecost, when they said, they're drunk.
Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't from grape juice, baby. It wasn't from grape juice. That's the thing. I always say, these same people who will tell you, smoke marijuana, God created the plant. They'll also say, well, when you put corn and wheat and yeast and all that stuff together and let it ferment for a couple of weeks or years, and then they want to turn their nose up at it. Shut up and read your Bible.
I like it all.
Yeah, I know. I'm a believer, but I'm not very religious. I like to.
I wonder if that hippie up there opened any of them bottles and then put iced tea back in the.
That's what this is.
I got a funny
100%.
feeling that
That's
stuff's
what
not
this
even
is.
real.
Right here, if
That's
you
not
look.
even real anymore. I think he's nipping on them bottles.
I know which bottles are real and which ones
So
are not.
our guy Gaston Mooney, who is the president of Blaze, he brought me this because he was canceling one of my shows and he thought I was going to take it hard. So he's like, "I'll bring you to 1792. We need to have a talk." And I knew what was coming, and I was just happy to drink whiskey with him, and I was okay when he canceled the show. It didn't hurt my feelings. But this is actually tea and water, isn't it? What'd you do, Candace?
It's Coca-Cola and water.
Oh, it's Coke and water.
Okay,
It's a mixture.
Not Pepsi.
Not in the South.
I love it. Yeah, so you never know. We were with our friend John Rich in Nashville, and he wanted us to try his new. Well, we've been drinking his Redneck Riviera whiskey forever, and he came out with a Granny Rich. That's his grandmother. She's 88 years old.
I
still
know
goes
John
to work.
very
Yeah,
well,
John's a
and
good
his
friend.
grandma. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
Granny Rich
his,
over there.
his dad, Jim. Did you
Yeah.
ever meet him?
I never met him.
He's a preacher.
He's a preacher. That's
And,
exactly right. That's what's wrong with John today.
I want to tell you something about John-O.
Yeah.
John bought me a food truck a number of years ago.
Really?
I had an RPG hit my truck.
Oh, wow.
We were driving down the road and got RPG'd, and John seen me on, I think it was 700 Club, and he bought me a food truck.
Wow. John's got
Yeah.
a big heart.
Yeah, John's a good guy.
He's a good guy. We spent a lot of
him
time.
and Big Kenny.
Big Kenny.
Did you hear about Big Kenny? Oh, he went to Sudan. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
I did know that.
And they arrested him over there.
Don't you love it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, And I told him I was in a meeting with Big Kenny and John and everyone, and I told him, I said, man, you need to be very careful who you go into Sudan with.
Yeah.
And he got over there and got arrested. They were going to keep him in a South Sudan jail.
Big Kenny's a trip, dude.
Yeah.
I was on a plane last week headed to Spokane, Washington, and I look across the aisle and I see this big old black guy with his cowboy hat on, and I said, that's Troy. And so
Yeah.
I was sitting behind him, so I didn't bug him. And I've known Troy forever,
Yeah.
Cowboy Troy. And so I go to the bathroom, and it was middle of the night, so I was kind of tired. I'm coming back to the deal, and I'd forgotten he was even sitting there, and I feel this big arm grab my leg right here, and he stops me. So we stopped. We shared an Uber to the hotel, and I said, "Well, you're on my way," because he was meeting the boys. The bus was coming in. They had some
How about
shows
the
in
midget?
Washington.
The-
Yeah,
with
2 foot Fred.
was
2
he?
foot
He was
Fred.
there too.
He's funny,
Yeah.
man.
But they're all good people.
Oh, they're great guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was sharing this Uber with Troy, and we're talking, and the Uber girl, she looks in the back, and she's like, well, I don't know who either one of you are. She said, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. And we're like, well, we're not anybody, Troy says that, and she says, well, the one guy, you sound like this comedian that sits in his truck and talks all the time with his cowboy hat on. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. And so we get to the hotel, Troy gets out, and I said, you've heard of Big and Rich? She goes, of course. And I said, okay, that was Cowboy Troy. And she's like, oh, my God. She was just freaking out. And she goes, and you're Chad Prather, too. I know you are. And so, anyway, we had to stop and take pictures. It was we had a good time with that. But Troy's one of the best. John's one of the best. But, yeah, we were sampling some of his Granny Rich Reserve, and they brought it out, and it was one of their display bottles, and they didn't know. So we took a shot of tea.
No.
And I was like, no, give me the real stuff.
I tell you what. Now, John's grandpa. Mm-hmm. Did you ever meet him?
Never met him.
He was a war hero. This guy was unbelievable, man. I actually
I've seen
spent
the pictures
Thanksgiving
and heard
with
the
him
stories,
years
yeah.
ago. They had me over at their house for Thanksgiving, and his grandpa was like a legend, man. Yeah.
We'll take a picture and send it over to John. He'll love it.
Yeah.
I'll text it over to him. Those are good boys. And then I'm good friends with all those guys. They're great guys. But there's big-hearted people out there.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but there's big-hearted people out there.
He wrote out a check. What happened? This was when I was just getting started, and I was green, man. I was like the Pennsylvania hillbilly. I'm still eating squirrel and rabbit.
Yeah.
And I get a phone call from Jim Rich, his daddy, and his daddy said, "Is this Sam Childers?" And I said, "Yep, Sam Childers." He said, "My son's Big and Rich." I said, I don't know who you're talking about. And he says, "Big and Rich, a country and western singer, And I said, "I still haven't heard of him." I said, "Bob Seger, I know. Leonard Skinner, I know. I got their DVDs, But then finally I Googled who he was, and I'm like, oh, my God. Well, he called me back the next day, and he said, "Listen, my son said he wants to meet you at some concert. And he said he's buying you a new food truck." And I mean, I broke. I started crying because, this was one of the first big things that ever happened to me. I'm talking this was years before the movie come out.
See, I was going to say, we brushed over the fact that you said an RPG hit your truck. Like we just skated on by like, oh, yeah,
Well,
my alarm clock didn't go off.
That happens a lot in Pennsylvania, But no, it was one of the first big things that ever happened to me. And I'm talking 2006, 2005. And for somebody to write me out a check like that, I was just shocked,
And that's the beauty of John. He's so unsung about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the fanfare, and the guy does it multiplied times over the generosity. When he sees something that grabs his heart, he jumps into it with both feet.
Very true.
He really, really
very
does.
true.
I appreciate you, man. I encourage people, support. Obviously you've had your critics.
Yeah.
You've had your share of that.
Did you see the federal government come after me?
I read about that.
They raided my motorcycle shop, raided my house. What's so crazy, okay? They ended up coming into my motorcycle shop. They thought we're bringing the preacher down, because they see I ride okay with 1%ers and everything and motorcycle shop. Well, anyways, they thought they were bringing me down. About probably 40 feds came in. With also there was a few sheriff, but they hit my motorcycle shop. They drove in at one time, cocked their guns in the parking lot, bust in, and I got a 60-some-year-old woman as a
Whoa,
secretary.
Sam.
Secretary.
You are freaky. You got a secretary that's 60.
You know what I mean. I'm looking over here at this cheerleader, and I'm sorry, I got my tongue all tied up. But anyway,
easy. What'd you do with your tongue?
They got red dots pointed on this lady, 60-some years old, and they're hollering, "Put your hands up! Put your hands in the air!" She couldn't lift her hands because her health wasn't well, and they're screaming at her. She's 60-some years old, And what was so crazy, then they said to my daughter, because my daughter was working there at the time, they said, "Are them cameras on?" And my daughter just looks at him and says, "Well, red means stop, green means go." So here they tried to deny that they come in armed and everything like that.
Yeah.
Here I had it all on film. And I still got it to this day. We hit it in many different places,
That's funny.
But it was really something. But it's something, it says in Matthew chapter 5, if you're persecuted for his sake, you'll be blessed.
Right.
So I went through a 2-year federal investigation. They came out nothing. They couldn't find nothing on me. IRS came after me for 2 years, which a lot of these preachers in Texas, they get hit with IRS too.
Yeah.
You can read it on the internet. But my fine after IRS came after me, 2 years, checked everything. My fine was 0.
Yeah.
But what they did for me, they showed the world the 1 year I had 56 cents on a dollar actually spent on the projects. And then they wouldn't, it should have been more, but they wouldn't certify any of the cash that I used to take to Africa. But my best year was 74 cents on a dollar. How many nonprofits, and we are 501c3, how many are out there that spend that much money on their projects?
You're exactly right.
Not very many.
You're exactly right. People don't realize that. You're exactly right. And we're going to show this video. We're going to get out of here, but I want you to watch the video. You'll find ways that you can help and things that you can, just ways that you can get involved. The best way for people to find you,
machinegunpreacher.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Always remember that. Not .com, it's .org.
But if you just Google the name, Machine Gun Preacher, everything
it's all
going
to come up.
Yeah,
Sam
everything
Childers or
comes
Machine Gun Preacher, you're going to do it. He looks nothing like Gerard Butler.
I'm better looking than Gerard Butler.
Way better.
I was in a show one time, and Gerard was sitting there in the chair, and I made the comment that I'm better looking than him. And he said to me after the show, he says, "Why do you always say you're better looking than me?" I said, "You remember one thing. You wanted to be me. I didn't want to be you."
I know. I was watching. When did we watch? My wife, she loves her some Gerard. That's why I've got a hit on you, Gerard. There's a price on your head.
I'll give you one of my pictures. Take home to your wife.
There you go. There you go. And then she'll be calling Sam Childers' name out in the middle of the night.
Right.
It used to be Channing Tatum. She'd be sitting over there going, Chad, Chad, Chad. It wasn't Chad. It was Channing.
Right,
I don't know why she'd be
right,
yelling my name
right.
anyway because I'd been finished for 3 minutes. But either way. So we watched the newest Gerard movie last night, that Angels Fallen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're going to keep remaking this him saving the president
He
deal
just
over and
turned
over.
50. Did you see that on
I
Facebook?
I didn't.
And they done his whole movie career. Listen, I really was honored.
Yeah.
You know what they said his 4th best movie was?
What?
Machine Gun Preacher.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
But there is a part 2 getting ready to come out.
Yeah.
The
Anybody
script,
wants to make a movie?
Yeah, the script is done. It's probably going to go private. Hollywood still owes me $800,000.
Yeah.
And people say, how can they do that? How can they do a movie of one guy's struggle to save children and then not pay him?
Yeah.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
One thing that y'all brushed over, we didn't really get a chance to talk about that I want to talk
Well,
about.
let's talk about it.
Scotty's big hands.
Oh man,
I'm just
Scotty.
saying.
Look, now you're making him blush.
Look at him.
Look at him. He's blushing now.
What girl doesn't like big hands?
You touch him. Touch him.
Okay,
I'm so
okay,
sweaty.
we're gonna
Touch
go
him,
there.
Scotty. Let her touch him.
I'm a fan.
Let the
Let's
hippie
do
touch
it.
him.
Here,
Let the
here,
hippie
here.
touch him.
That's just funny.
You know how hippies are. That sometimes they're bisexual.
I'm a little turned on now.
Are you? That happened right in front of your face.
No.
It happened, like that relationship happened right in front of your face. I've watched
Wow.
weird movies that involve that. That's
He's not really a hippie-o, is he?
now.
Yeah, he don't.
No,
He's,
not
he's a
really.
good
He looks like a
capitalist.
rock star, in a way.
Yeah,
Kind of am a rock star.
he is a rock star.
He's living that life.
Yeah.
Look at his
see,
shirt
he's-
he's wearing right there.
Yeah, look at
that's
that.
his new, that's the new one from partyfoulnation.com, the Fit Chased. That one just came out today.
Yep.
As a matter of fact,
Wow.
so folks need to go get it on
Well,
the website.
everybody be watching the shirt that Scotty's wearing.
Machine Gun Preacher
Because
for president.
I am running for president, and I got a couple. Everyone says to me, "What's the first thing you're going to change?" There will not be anything larger than a large in spandex for girls.
Yes.
I'm cutting them out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is real issues, folks.
and I'm
You
going to
don't
stop
want a bag
making.
of knots in the leggings.
And I'm stop making the penny, the nickel, and the dime. I'm stopping it. Mm-hmm. And people will laugh at that. But do you know how many millions of dollars, millions upon millions, we lose every year making a penny, a nickel, and a dime? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know why they don't cut it out.
I got a feeling that if you were the president, we wouldn't have to worry much about the Second Amendment being infringed.
No, and I'm going to make it if you can get a gun permit and you qualify. I believe that all states should have tests before they give you a gun permit.
Sure.
You should know how to shoot. So I believe if you qualify the same as a police officer on a shooting range and you do a background check, you should be allowed to carry a gun anywhere in the United States. And Trump believes that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trump believes it too.
I believe that too. And if you want to go feel like Sam Childers, you can go over to Texas Gun Experience.
Yeah,
in Great
I
Bryan,
heard about
Texas.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
They got 200 different machine guns you can rent and shoot. Somebody said the other day, they said, "Oh my God, they charge $25 an hour on their lanes," and I'm like, "Then don't go." You know what? You're
Well, the
talking
guy
about
said,
an
who
elite.
charges $25? And then Joseph goes, us in Grapevine.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
if you want to go
$25.
downtown and shoot at some gun range, that's fine. But if you want to go to an elite shooting center that has everything under one roof, I'm telling you.
No, I think it's awesome. I seen
amazing.
a video that she showed. Well, I won't tell about the one
No,
video
please.
you showed me.
Well,
Whoa!
okay.
But anyway,
Hey, la, la.
she showed me one video of them shooting a Gatling gun, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so awesome. You only seen them in the John Wayne movies, you know.
And it's there, and you can rent it.
Yeah, and it
Spitting
looked really nice too.
La,
you
da,
know?
da, da, da,
Appreciate
da,
it.
da, da.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was good.
I want one of those at my house. You remember that Ben Affleck movie where he was the autistic savant or whatever? He was the accountant, and he had that little deal on the little turret in his garage that he could just put right outside the window, and in case it was kind of one of those. I want one of those at the house because I never know who's coming.
Yeah, it'd be
You know,
cool.
You never know who's coming up.
Yeah. Well, I got my bike shop. I stay in the clubhouse in the back when I don't have a home here in the U.S., okay, because I live in Africa. So I stay in the clubhouse, and you can't even walk near my bike shop or clubhouse and somebody not see you. It's on monitors, everywhere, Yeah.
I love it.
As it should be.
Yeah.
MachineGunPreacher.org. Go there, check it out. Get the book, get the movie, all the good stuff. Just get aware. That's the bottom line. That's all I care about.
And listen, we're in that time of year. We're in the giving time of year. People's asking you for money everywhere.
Sure.
If people's asking you for money, don't be afraid to ask them questions about money.
Right.
And if they don't want to answer any of your questions, don't give them any money.
Yeah.
We have done everything from I built 7 schools over the years. We're building number 8 school right now. We have drilled more than 50 wells over the years. We have repaired more than 3 dozen. We started a feeding program of 21 children a decade ago. Now we feed over 13,000 meals a day.
Right.
We're employing over 500 people a day, not volunteers. These people are on a payroll. So we're actually changing East Africa.
Yeah.
And if you got any questions, you can call my office ask them anything you want to ask, you know. Yeah.
And I know the objections that come up because I've heard them over and over again when I talk about stuff I do internationally. You have people who say, well, let's take care of the kids in America first. Let me tell you something. If you've watched me or listened to me over the years, you've heard me say this over and over again. The light that shines the brightest at home shines the farthest away. And if your light isn't shining far away, then guess what? It ain't shining near as bright as you think it is at home. So don't deceive yourself and think you got some big bright light going on here. Because if you can manage, if you're truly reaching here, you're going to reach the nations as well.
Let's be honest. No child can go hungry in America unless they got a deadbeat mom and dad.
Right.
There's no way.
Who's purposefully not feeding
Most
them.
schools now are giving breakfast, lunch, and now they're even starting to send. I just seen on Facebook, they're freezing the leftover food. Instead of throwing it away, a lot of these schools, they're freezing it inside of these nice trays and sending it home with kids, you know. Every town has a food pantry. I'm from Central City, Pennsylvania, 900 people. They got a food pantry in town, you know. So it's hard for someone to starve. Out of the 13,000 meals that we feed a day, 40% of those children only eat the cup of food that I feed them. Just the cup of food that I feed them is all they eat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sam Childers, everybody. Hey, thanks for coming on. You're always welcome here.
It was really, really good, really cool. Love the people.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know about the massage later.
Hey, I done got my toes did so I can walk on your face. Hey, listen, you're always welcome here anytime you're in this area, and we're going to load Steve up. We're going to put a sack around his neck, send him
Once
over
again,
to
you made me feel like the biggest underachiever. I need a shirt that says Party Foul Steve, #underachiever.
What we need is just an underachiever shirt. Just says underachiever. And everybody will know.
I like him, though. I think he'd be pretty cool to have a glass of scotch with.
He's a good dude. Let me tell you, I travel with Steve all over the planet. We just got back from Ireland, and there's nobody else. He's a Marine, and there's nobody. I can't think of another grown man that I would travel with as much as I travel with him because as much as he can take a punch and a beating and we give him a hard time, this is a street smart cat right here.
All right.
And so I got to give
great
Steve
massages.
Listen, I don't want anybody else driving me around anywhere. Party Foul, he's a horrible driver, but I'll let him do it.
Scotty likes to give massages.
Yeah. Look at the hands on that guy. It's like he's wearing first baseman
like a monster there. Look at him.
He's like a bunch of bananas.
Everybody needs a Scotty, too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when we're on the road, I don't want to travel with anybody but Scotty. Sure. He washes my clothes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, by hand. No,
Look he's on a tumble cycle right now.
No, but seriously, I tell everyone, everybody needs a Scotty. Yeah. We get in some places, and some of these people kind of look scary, you know, and say, where's the machine gun preacher at? And I always say, right over there, Scotty.
Hey, Dave. No, that's why everybody wants my Party Foul Steve, and I'm like, I won't let them have him. No, they try to woo him away with their evil talk and their wicked ways. And I won't allow it. I won't allow it.
He just breaks out the checkbook.
I hear you guys are going to Pennsylvania.
He's a kept man. Yeah, we are. We're on our way.
Okay.
On our way right
today.
now.
We're on our way today. We're heading up there. Got a show tomorrow night in Irwin.
Be careful. There's hillbillies even there.
We were in, where were we? We were in Des Moines. Where were we?
There's hillbillies everywhere.
No, it was in Indiana.
Be careful if you hear a banjo playing.
Wabash, yeah.
Hey, you guys be careful if you hear a banjo.
Start running. I'll be like, Mom. No, listen. We were in Wabash, Indiana. And you know how those Midwestern states are? Like, I love going, like, I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And like,
Hershey's cool.
They have these, you know, that was the first place I ever went. I'm sitting at the bar one night, years ago, and people can just come in and buy their six-pack from the bar.
Yeah.
And then take it. I'd never seen that before, so I thought that was kind of cool. But, you know, you just have the neighborhood, these row houses, and then they just turned one into a bar. Yeah. And so now people just go in what used to be a house, and now it's a bar. Yeah. We were in Wabash. We go into this place, and it was the only late-night place that was open after a show there. So we go in because we walk where angels fear to tread. We just love people, and we just go in and figure we could talk our way out of any comes our way. So we go in there. Everybody in the bar was packing, dude. By the end of the night, Steve's got them all. They got their firearms just laid out on the bar.
I'm telling you,
I loved it.
Yeah, that's Pennsylvania.
Dude in the kilt with his balls hanging lower than the kilt.
I have a church up there. And on a Sunday morning, all I'd have to say, all right, everybody got a gun, bring it up, put it on the altar. The whole altar would be full.
It'd be full of guns.
What's so crazy is you don't even see them on them.
Yeah.
And some of them are carrying AR-15s. And it's like, how did you get that thing in your pants?
You got a hog leg.
Your
name must be Scotty.
Yeah.
Listen, I had a dream last night.
No,
this is
you
the
know
truth.
what? Scotty carries a little Saturday night special. He does. Look at the size of his hands.
I hope there's no trigger
Show your
guard
hands
on
again,
it.
Scotty.
I
And he
hope there's no
carries a
trigger
little
guard.
38. I'm telling you.
I like my
Makes him
38. I like my 38. If it's right in my pocket,
I
I'm
got
going
so
to worry
many
about
jokes in my head right now that are vastly inappropriate. I'm excited. I'm really turned on. I did have a dream last night that I had 2 firearms I was trying to put on my person, and one of them kept causing an imprint, and I was like, this is just not going to work. And like, what's that dream? Like, I want to interpret that dream.
Your jeans were too tight.
Nah, I don't know what it was. But I had
You
a
don't
dream.
wear skinny jeans?
I try not to. I'm not skinny, so that's the thing. I try not to.
The hippie wears skinny jeans.
No.
He doesn't. He doesn't. When I'm on stage, I wear some jeans that like they're becoming skinny jeans just because I'm getting bigger.
Somebody was making fun of me. You know, I had a pair of skinny jeans on.
Yeah.
And somebody was making fun of me. And I said, well, listen, I'm sorry, you know, but my wife is 36 years old. So she bought me skinny jeans, you know.
The only guys I see wear skinny jeans are the ones in the praise and worship group at church.
There you go.
Every
I can
one of those
play a
guys has
bass.
skinny.
No, but I
Okay,
wear
well,
them
go
now
rock
and
it.
then, you know. You know, it makes you feel good, especially when my young wife is walking next to me, you know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We can have a good time, Sam.
Scotty wears skinny jeans.
Oh,
Do you?
Yeah.
Come on. The problem with skinny jeans is the imprint of your boots. It's impossible to wear skinny jeans with boots, and that's a hard thing. Like I did a show, wasn't a show. I emceed an event the other night in Houston with Chad Robichaud, who's a little Force Recon Marine badass, who was a welterweight MMA champ and runs a great organization called Mighty Oaks Foundation, where warriors are helping warriors with PTS.
Very cool.
And then we had Congressman Dan Crenshaw that I do some events with from time to time, and he was giving me a hard time because we had to wear a suit to this deal. And well, I just don't think that boots look good with a suit. It just doesn't. To me, it's weird unless you have the suit built for the boots, kind of thing. And so I was wearing dress shoes, which I never wear.
Huh.
And Crenshaw was busting my balls.
Somebody should have got a picture of that.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Crenshaw, I even did a video. We were talking about it, and Crenshaw was giving me a hard time. And I was like, yeah, well, you only got one eye. How about that? Take that, Crenshaw. You can't even. So, anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. We could spend all day having a good time. We got to get out of here, but I want you to watch this video. This is good stuff. A lot of these projects you're going to see on the video, they're completed. There's more projects to come. This guy is full of vision. He is full of passion. He is full of discipline, and he's full of risk. And I love how those things in your life have built on each other because you are spending your life literally to accomplish your vision.
I do want to say this, though. Mission work begins at home.
Yeah.
And something that we done this year in our office, we called all the schools around us in the county and spoke to the nurses in the schools and asked the school nurses, is there anyone in your school that could use Thanksgiving dinner?
Right.
Yeah. So there is people for us to help, even here in America.
There really is.
You know, there's a lot of hardworking, low-income people that needs that extra help. So I want to encourage everyone, find someone this season. This is the season to be giving. And I'm talking Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas. Find someone that you can help. Find an organization you can help. And it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
This is kind of Christianity most folks I know can get behind, you know?
Yeah.
And they really can because it doesn't. And if you don't want Christianity, go to hell.
Yeah. That's a good one. I'll have to remember that Sunday. Y'all don't want Christianity, go to hell.
Just go to hell. I love
right.
when people say, what kind of God could do this to people in the Old Testament and kill this and kill? Well, basically the only God there is.
Yeah.
So deal with it.
How
about that?
We're Republicans.
All right, we got to get out of here. Watch
Good.
this video. Thank you, Sam. Go to machinegunpreacher.org. Check it out. Get involved. We love y'all. God bless. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Right now, we have 3 major projects that's going on. Our Ethiopian project. This project is going on so slowly. I believe that it's a spiritual thing. I believe that it's like a darkness thing trying to hold back. I believe the Ethiopian project is going to be the unbelievable leading people to salvation through Jesus Christ. But we got a 6-story building there, and this 6-story building is a bakery, is a hotel, restaurant. It's an amazing thing for training young people. This project alone will be training about 50 to 60 young people every day. So we have that project going on. Our farm, we still got some major work that we need to do here. You know, the biggest thing that we need is farming equipment. As far as our seeds, like I said, we sell a lot of our crops so we can buy the seeds for the following season. We're actually, some of the money that we sell the crops is even paying for the workers here. But what we need our donors to do is tractors, farming equipment. The truck stop. We believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that the truck stop itself, selling fuel in the supermarket, and what's there working now, will truly meet our budget on 5 orphanages. So we need people to come in to help us to get the fuel station done. Right now, to finish the fuel station, to finish the supermarket, I'm talking putting in the fuel pumps. I'm talking putting in the fuel tanks. I'm talking finishing the supermarket, stocking the shelves. We need $180,000. And I believe that just that fuel station and supermarket is going to help us to get self-sufficient over the next couple years. We feed over 13,000 meals a day, you know, so none of that is good enough for me. You know, I want to be able to do 20,000 meals a day, 25,000 meals. My goal is to work 1,000 people by the end of next year, because if we can educate someone, we built 7 schools over the years, we're building the 8th one now. If you can educate them, if you can teach them a skill and a trade, you can give someone a future. And if you start giving people a future, individuals a future, then you can say, I'm changing nations.